This is Terrence Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, just following up on my video about pensions and the seriousness of this problem and how it's really not being covered enough. I'm reading an article now from the Daily News, my hometown, New York City. Drained pension fund as retired New York union workers pinching pennies to survive as doom looms for reserves across the United States. Now, I don't care what you say about the news media and whatever's being promoted, that's fake news. This is not. And this article just starts promoting the fact that how the pension problem is so serious and how is it being affected and how is it affecting your loved ones. Look at some of the criteria of this. In the backseat of his beat up car, Timmy Chimley states that what he refers to as his new retirement fund, bags and bags of recycled bottles and cans. This is the population that sets up the generations going forward. I mentioned in my last video how we depend on the baby boomers for aid in every aspect. And if you look at most families, they're the ones that you usually rely on to help out with your grandkids or help with your kids, which is their grandkids, help out financially if you're going through a situation. They're even the ones who's help funding future generations, even starting businesses. They are being squeezed. And it's just a sad state, but one that we need to be really mindful of as we're going forward. Look at this. It says Chimley is one of roughly 4,000 retired Teamsters across New York State suffering a fate that could soon hit millions of working class Americans, the loss of their union pensions. Millions. This is not my play on words, exactly what they're saying right here in the Daily News. Now, I understand papers write for sensationalism, but this problem is brewing. At a union job, look at this, and this is coming from real individuals, real people that could be in your family. I had a union job for 30 years, Chimley said. We have collectively bargained contracts that promise us a pension. I paid into it with every paycheck. Everyone told us, don't worry, you have a union job. Your pension is guaranteed. Well, so much for that. Also on the brink of dying up are the pensions for two Teamster locals, 641 and 560 in New Jersey. Union officials said, plus 35,000 team members upstate who are part of the money hemorrhaging New York State Teamsters Pension Fund. Again, I'm just reading just some of the clips from here. It's a nightmare. It's devastated all of our lives. I'm going from having 48,000 a year to less than half. Last time I checked, what they define as middle class is $50,000 a year. And so they were earning more than that during the working time, and they're getting less than that when they're not working. I don't want other people to have to go through this. We need everyone to wake up and do something. That's why we're talking, says Ray Navarez. Navarez is 77, got a union certificate upon retirement in 2003 that guaranteed him a lifetime pension of $3,479 a month. The key term here is they were guaranteeing him a lifetime pension, and that is not applicable no more. But it's 75 million of these individuals. What are they going to do when they come to find out that Social Security is not there? Medicare is not there. Again, these are the family members that you rely on, that you come on to help out with things financially when you're going through an issue. I can't stress enough about paying attention to this particular pension. Start asking real questions with your family members, especially the older ones. Not just your fathers and your mothers. Look at your grandparents too, because they're still drawing money as well. We're living longer. And these plans based on a 7% growth rate, that's impossible. Nothing is given 7%. And this is how these plans were formulated. If you go back, just take a look at this article. Again, I want to go back up to the screen, up to the top here. Drained pension fund has retired New York union members, pinching pennies to survive as doom looms for reserves across the United States. Because of the severity of this, I'm going to be doing a couple of videos just strictly on the pension problem and pointing it out. This is Terrence Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions. Start talking to your family members about more than the news and what's going on. Start talking about what's happening financially in their life. And pay attention to what's going on instead of just going by day to day and going by the sensationalism, what's going on with Trump and stuff like that. Find out what's going on financially. That's more important than anything else, especially these pensions, especially your family members who function and fall into that baby boom generation. They're being pinched, and they're part of a generation that doesn't usually like to talk about any thing financially. They like to keep things quiet. But I'm glad that these guys were brave enough to start talking about it and start admitting something so they can actually put out there in journal form to newspapers like the Daily News, so I can then actually talk about it and see it and put it out there for video format. This is Terrence Banks. Talk to your family members. I'm out to my next video.